The Tale of Ded Moroz and Snegurochka. When and by whom was this story first told? No one remembers. Who first heard it and when? Nobody knows. But the story goes like this. Far away, at the very top of the world, Ded Moroz lived with his granddaughter Snegurochka. Their home was the frozen North Pole, a vast icy kingdom known as the Arctic. In this realm of endless winter, there were no other seasons. Days here were the shortest on Earth. It seemed as though the sun itself feared to freeze, for it hurried away, leaving behind a land wrapped in frost and silence. Long polar nights shimmered with cold stars and the dancing lights of the aurora borealis. And in that icy desert there was no one but Ded Moroz and Snegurochka. So they might have remained, dwelling in quiet loneliness, if not for a dream Snegurochka had on the eve of New Year's Day. In her dream, she and Ded Moroz found themselves visiting children at a New Year's celebration. She saw joyful songs, playful dances, shining ornaments on a great tree, and presents waiting beneath. It was so vivid that it felt real. When she awoke, she could not help but whisper the words of a rhyme the children had been chanting. Tick-tock, the clock goes on. Step, step, the new year comes along. Here, here, the pine tree grows. There, there, the gifts it shows. Grandfather! Grandfather! Cried Snegurochka joyfully, her crystal heels ringing against the icy floor of their palace. Sitting calmly on his throne of frost, Ded Moroz replied, I hear you, my dear child. Grandfather, we are not alone. Not anymore. What has happened, Snegurochka? I saw them in my dream, the children. There were so many of them, all together, laughing, playing, celebrating. Oh, how I want to go to them. Please, Grandfather, take me there. Ded Moroz rose, embraced her warmly, and smiled. Of course, little one. You will see them soon. Don't worry. But Snegurochka shook her head, tears sparkling like icy gems as they rolled down her cheeks. No, you're just trying to calm me. You don't believe me. Hush, hush, my child, he said gently. I promise you, tomorrow we shall begin our journey. Though I do not yet know the way to these children, I will show you, Grandfather. I remember everything, she exclaimed, kissing him on both cheeks in delight. 3 days before New Year's Eve, by the next morning they were ready for the road. Ded Moroz raised his staff, struck it twice, and wished aloud for the northern lights to become their path in the sky, and for the stars to guide their way. At once the stars arranged themselves into a shining trail, and the aurora unfurled like a glowing ribbon, its edge curling down to the feet of Ded Moroz and Snegurochka. As soon as they stepped upon it, the path lifted and, like a serpent of light, carried them through the heavens. 2 days before New Year's Eve, all day long they flew above the Arctic, but by evening their shimmering road grew shorter and lower until it finally descended toward an unknown land. The islands of Severnaya Zemlya, ruled by the mighty white polar bear. Look, Grandfather! What a curious creature is coming to meet us, Snegurochka exclaimed. A booming voice shook the ice. Who are you and what business brings you here? We are on our way to a New Year's tree to meet the children, answered Ded Moroz. Would you help us reach them? The great bear said nothing but smiled, bowed, and offered his shaggy back. With all his strength, he carried Ded Moroz and Snegurochka, and by morning they had reached the great land. I can go no farther, said the bear. This is the tundra, and its ruler is the noble reindeer. He will carry you on. Farewell. 1 day before New Year's Eve? And so Ded Moroz and Snegurochka continued their journey, now riding on the back of a noble reindeer. All through the following day, they sped tirelessly across the endless tundra. Ahead lay the great taiga, teeming with its many creatures. When the animals realized that it was truly Ded Moroz and Snegurochka, and that they were hurrying to meet the children for New Year's Eve, the forest dwellers gladly offered their help. With the aid of the magical staff, magnificent sleighs appeared, and in the harness stood side by side the elk and the bear, the wolf and the boar, the fox and the hare, the sable and the squirrel. Even the black grouse and capercaillies joined in, soaring high above to search out the clearest paths for the sleigh to follow. 1 hour before New Year's Eve. At last they reached mighty Lake Baikal, the sea-like lake, and there too his daughter, the beautiful Angara. Ded Moroz and Snegurochka thanked the kind-hearted creatures of the taiga and set off once again, now gliding swiftly on magical skis toward the old merchant city of Irkutsk. It was there in her dream that Snegurochka had found herself 3 days before the coming of the new year. The clock strikes 12. At last the evening lights of Irkutsk appeared, glowing around a splendid New Year's tree, where children were already dancing in merry circles. Ded Moroz and Snegurochka heard the children chanting, "Tick-tock, the clock goes on, step-step, the new year comes along. Here, here, the pine tree grows, there, the gifts it shows." "But grandfather, I saw all of this in my dream," Snegurochka cried, her face glowing with happiness. And hand in hand with Ded Moroz and the children, she joined the round dance around the shining New Year's tree. "Happy New Year, dear children," said Ded Moroz. "Happy New Year," echoed Snegurochka,